Hey everyone, welcome to another episode from AMPro Engineering. There are times where I look at a part for an RC car that sells for so much money that I am actually offended that people who own that car may never get a chance to actually own the replacement part. One of those parts is this. This is the rear taillight panel for the original Tamiya Hilux. Now, of course, I'm not going to make an exact replica. Someone's done that before, and I have no intention of copying. What I have done, however, is updated the part so that you have a main rear panel here. You have these separate light bucket inserts, and then you have separate lenses. So the lenses will pop right in there and right over here. And this will give you the ability to not only have a nice detailed rear panel for your Hilux, but the opportunity to illuminate them. A lot of owners of these vehicles are very, very passionate about how perfect and original they are. So the upside of installing these rear panels is that you can have the appearance of a part that is illuminated without actually making it illuminate, although you do have that option. The right side of this is for the amber signal, the left is for the reverse, and the center is for the brake/driving light. I have seen these two lights come in either 3 or 5 millimeter LED sizes. It's a little bit hard to see, but these come with all 3 millimeter holes. However, both the brake and the reverse light has a small lip that you can simply drill out very easily with a 5 millimeter LED to open that hole up for a larger LED. The setup will also allow you to repaint the rear panel in a single color very easily, and then the portion where the taillight would be no longer has to be painstakingly masked to give it the matte black look on the whatever color rear panel. I've also seen that many of these rear panels have really sloppily painted taillights, and please don't feel like I'm insulting the people that have done that. I'm simply aware of how difficult it is to paint the edges of a taillight when the taillight itself is so minuscule. Because the taillights are separate now, they can be very, very easily painted and installed with relative ease. And that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to go ahead and paint these translucent colors. Well, obviously we'll leave the clear one clear, but I'll shoot it with a coat of gloss clear. These two outer ones will be amber and the center ones will be red. Please do not mix these two up because they are similar sizes. On a side note, I've found on very rare occasion that some of these clear pieces from Shapeways can have a slippery or sticky feel. That means that the support material that was used to suspend these parts when they were printed was not properly removed. You cannot paint these when they are still sticky and slimy. Please contact Shapeways if they arrive to you and they are in that state. They will walk you through the process of cleaning them up. I also wanted to mention that this taillight panel comes in 2 flavors. It'll come in the very high detail, which is what this one is. That will come translucent. This one's just been painted. And the other version is going to be nylon. Now the nylon one will be more robust and you can screw right into these mounting holes very easily with the screwdriver. The high detail version has to have these tapped with a tapping bit. Otherwise, if you try and thread in a self-tapping screw, you risk cracking this. This piece I did want in white, so I'll go ahead and paint that. And these will go ahead and shoot a couple more coats of black, and then we'll paint the insides silver. Everything's been painted. These are translucent. If you can kind of see my finger, well, you can see that. The reason I didn't want to go with opaque is because then you couldn't see the texture that's within them right there. Okay, same with the ambers. And then of course the reverse lights are completely clear with the texture. Taillights have been painted black and I just painted the insides a little bit silver, and that's going to help to brighten up that area. And I didn't really care about getting the edges too well because you're not going to see that ever. And the rear panel is white. To install these, we'll get some model glue. And I must strongly recommend here that you do not use any kind of super glue because that will cause bloom, that little white fogginess everywhere, and that will both screw up the transparency of the lights and just make a mess out of your entire paint job. Okay, so I'm just doing it on the side walls right here. And for me, we'll just start with the red one. I don't know why I chose the red, but we did. And we'll just drop it right in, and you just want to make sure that it sits flat like that. And next, we'll go with the clear. The clear was clear coated, by the way, but obviously not painted any color. And that just pop right in. And lastly, the amber. have it. Remember that if you did go with the ultra detailed plastics, these holes must be tapped. The taillights themselves can just drop in here, just like that. I would not place the glue here. I would place the glue inside this area to obviously prevent anything from bleeding out and looking terrible. But there is our rear panel. Let's go ahead and drop in some LEDs. Now I know I don't have the vehicle yet to test this in, but I do want to see how they look because I simply can't help myself. Ooh. Man, that is a bright reverse light. Let's pull that out. Oh man, that looks really good. Only our brake light. Well, now that we have the rear panel finished, we can go ahead and install it. And thanks to Showdog for coming by and let me borrow his Hilux because I don't have one. Now the standard one is held down with these two M2 screws. I'm going to remove them very carefully, and I'm assuming that if you want my version of this, you either don't have this panel or you want to have some lit up ones. So the reproduction, you'll slide right in here. Thankfully it fits. This is the first time I'm actually trying this. And you'll want to pre-tap the holes for an M2. It's critical that you pre-tap these on the ultra detailed plastic because it's not designed to be self-tapped in there. You must use an actual tap. So the rear panel has gotten installed here, and again I just used some M2 screws. Now, of course, you know, I don't have this painted to match, but on your vehicle it would in fact match, and now we'll install it on the chassis. All right, and we can just go ahead and drop that straight down now. Okay, and that is in, and there are your taillights. If you do want to wire these, it'll be a little bit tougher on this truck, simply because of the clearance that you have back here. So I'm going to hold the truck here. When the taillights are installed, they fit very, very nicely. However, if you do want to have the LEDs in, you are going to have to be very careful when you install the body so that the anode and the cathode, or the two little wires that come out of the back of the LED, don't get caught on the battery box. You are going to have ample room behind them when they are installed to have operational taillights. There we have it. This will complete the installation of the AMPro Tamiya Toyota Hilux taillight panel with operational taillights. And again, don't think that you have to make these operational if you just want a simpler way of detailing these, because as you can tell, the original is going to be a little bit tougher because you've got to somehow mask everything off very carefully. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to take quite a considerable amount of work. If you don't have one of these panels, there are a lot of other options. I know I have seen these printed in one solid piece, which is fantastic. You'll probably get them for a little bit cheaper. But if you do want to have that extra level of detail, these are in fact available for you. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next time.